We're under 30 minutes till kickoff, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. And in that time, we're going to touch on your fantasy football draft, player props, and even a special preview for Parlay Live. Hey everyone, welcome to Evening Kickoff, your football home for fantasy props and parlays. I'm your host, Sean O'Reilly, and if you enjoy fantasy football or even placing a small wager on sports, this is the Thursday night pregame show you don't want to miss. You know, last year, the NFL finished with one of the most exciting playoff football seasons ever we've ever seen in our lifetime. And what do we have for this year? Well, as you can see across the screen, the regular season kicks off with the first week schedule to remind us on how great this sport really is. September 8th gives us a possible Super Bowl matchup with the Bills traveling to the world champion Rams. And in Minnesota, hope is renewed as many are picking them to knock off the Packers in the NFC North. The list goes on and on. But first, we have the preseason, and for tonight, the first game we'll see is the Giants at the Patriots, and just a half hour later, the kickoff between the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens. You can comment anytime on our YouTube stream, and we might pull it up on the broadcast live. And remember, anyone that subscribes to the channel is eligible for our free weekly jersey giveaway starting in the regular season. So let's kick off our first segment, Fantasy Draft. We're going to do a countdown starting from the 32nd pick all the way down to number 1. So who we got at 32? Quarterback Josh Allen, and here's why. Over the last few years, there's just too high of a percentage of starting running backs taken in the first round that get injured for 3 weeks or more. We've all learned the hard way, backups do not make up the point difference. So Josh at quarterback has the numbers, and he can. So grab him at the start of the 4th round or earlier if he's still there. Next up, Saints running back Alvin Kamara at 31. Some of you are probably thinking, why this far down? I'm thinking injury and suspension. That's what I'm thinking. You have to draft the most likely points in the first 3 rounds. You can't waste a high pick waiting for this guy to show up later in the year. So draft him, but just not too early. You might give it just a bit of a wait. All right, next up, we got Leonard Fournette. He is my pick at number 30. This Buccaneer is 27 years old. He last year played in 14 games and scored 8 touchdowns. He appears to be healthy. He's on a motivated team. He's a solid guy giving you solid point this year. Remember, he finished ranked 8th last year in standard scoring leagues with over 12 points per game. The guy still got it, and he can help you win. 29th pick, Commanders running back Antonio Gibson. He had 11 rushing touchdowns in 2020 and a total of 10 touchdowns last year. And remember, he was a receiver in college, and he's still learning the running back position. But he already rushed for over 1,000 yards last year. He's becoming a real good back and a great pick at number 29. And moving forward, we got LA Rams running back Cam Akers at number 28. Cam is ready to take on the role of RB1 on that team. If you don't know the story, Cam was in a split backfield last year with Sonny Michel. The Rams parted ways with Michel, who was also their leading rusher in 2021. He might be a sleeper pick at running back you could steal this year. Now we're looking at wide receiver Tyreek Hill at number 27. We know all about this dude. He was a stud with the Chiefs. He left Kansas City to get the Monster Bucks over at the Dolphins. Who could blame him? And now he's on the same team as Tua. And Tua is the unknown here. And that's why we've got him down in the draft charts just a bit this year. Tua's got to have the best year of his life for Tyreek to continue at those high levels. Next at 26, DJ Moore of the Panthers. DJ signed $61 million extension this spring and comes into camp in a good mood and a lot of money. He's caught 3 straight seasons of over 1,100 yards receiving. And now with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, it's a good bet that number could go up some. So don't fall asleep on this guy. He's got the goods to have a pretty big year. That brings us to 25, Deebo Samuel, and this one's a toughie. Obviously, he crushed it last year, but now he has a new quarterback that's not proven. And last year, the rumblings were that he was overused as a runner and not allowed to really settle into the receiver role. So for this year, his points totals may be lower with the untested quarterback, and that's something to think about. All right, CeeDee Lamb, welcome to the show, cowboy. You've earned the 24 spot, and here's why. CD was a first-round draft pick for Dallas in 2020. He has averaged over 1,000 yards reception for each of his first 2 years in the league. We think CD could have a breakout this year, and he's a great pick at number 24. So we got 23 coming up. Javonte Williams from the Denver Broncos. Javonte had 1,200 scrimmage yards and 7 touchdowns in 2021. And he put up these numbers while splitting time with Melvin Gordon. Now, the Broncos acquired Russell Wilson. Russell will only make Javonte better in his sophomore year. He's a rock-solid pick at 23, and he could be one of the best steals of this draft. Keep an eye on him. Let's roll forward. We see Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got him coming off the board at 22nd. Etienne was injured last year. I think it was a Liz Frank injury, but now he's healthy, and he should be the Jags' #1 running back. But it could flip between him and James Robinson. A lot could change in the next 4 weeks before the regular season starts, but on a rejuvenated Jaguar team, we have Etienne as a starter. 21, Saquon Barkley. He's talented, but he's always injured. Remember, his best season was back in 2018, and that was the year he ran for 1,300 yards and scored 4 rushing touchdowns and had another 1,700 yards receiving. This is a contract year for him, and that might be all it takes. So we feel pretty good at 21, but don't reach for him. Coming in at 20, future Hall of Famer Travis Kelce. Let's read through some of his numbers. Over the last 6 years, Kelce has averaged over 1,200 yards receiving per year as a tight end. And those were 6 straight years over 1,000 yards, which is an NFL record. And then there's more. During those 6 years, he's averaged 8 touchdowns per year. So we got Kelce at 20. Hey, rookie Breece Hall, 19th pick. Here's what he did in college. 3,900 yards rushing, 700 yards receiving. He scored 56 touchdowns in 3 years. Let's break that down further. Breece Hall averaged over 18.5 touchdowns per year. He could be the rookie of the year in the NFL this year. Keep an eye on him. All right, coming in at 18 is Tampa wide receiver Mike Evans. First, for the obvious, he has the GOAT throwing him the football. But check out his stats. He grabbed 1,000 receiving yards in every one of his 8 years in the NFL, and he's also scored over 75 touchdowns during that span. And in just the last 2 years, 13 TDs in 2020, 14 last year. 17th pick, Keenan Allen, wide receiver from the Chargers. The guy has averaged over 100 receptions per year over the last 4 years, and he's got Justin Herbert throwing him the football. And if you're in a PPR league, you got to have Allen because this guy gets targets every game. He can be an excellent late second-round pick in your fantasy league. Check him out. He's still going strong. And now I think we're up to number 16, and we're targeting Nick Chubb, I believe it is. Nick generally hovers around the 8 to 9 touchdown mark per year, 1,200 yards rushing. But it's tough to expect anything more out of him because he has Kareem Hunt breathing down his neck for carries as well. So go after Chubb. Just don't reach for him too early in your fantasy draft. Now at number 15, it looks like we have Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens, #1 ranked tight end. His resume is getting better as well. He had 107 receptions last year and scored 9 touchdowns, and he went over 1,300 yards receiving. We believe you may see a monster year from him in 2022. Go get this guy if you can. He'll be Lamar's top target. All right, here we go with the number 14th pick in our draft, and that's Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings, of course. Yes, we know he gets hurt and loses games when he's out. That's why he's a second rounder. When he's hot, he's a giant out there scoring. But keep in mind, you need to grab his backup later in the rounds as a safety play because history says you'll probably need it. But we still feel good about him at our 14th pick. Now, coming in at 13, wide receiver Devontae Adams of the Las Vegas Raiders. This guy is now reunited with his college quarterback, Derek Carr. And pound for pound, he might be the best wide receiver in all of football. Adams has averaged 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns per year the last couple of years. We believe he'll keep it going with the Raiders. All right, coming in at number 12 is Lions running back DeAndre Swift. And we're going to keep this one really simple, folks. He has a great offensive line for 2022. So here it is. If his offensive line stays healthy and Swift stays healthy, This will be a breakout year for him. We could see him hit 1,400 yards and 10 plus touchdowns, but they got to stay healthy. That's the key. Okay, for number 11, we got backer Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Rodgers is going to need this guy this year, and we think he'll deliver. Listen to this. Between 2019 and 21, Jones' 1,200 receiving yards at running back were the fourth most behind Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara, and Christian McCaffrey. And now with Devontae gone, Jones' catch production could go even higher. So here we are at top 10, and we're going to start with Joe Mixon. Joe was last year's number 3 scoring running back and finished just a single point behind Austin Eckler at number 2 in the running back scoring. So they've also improved their offensive line in Cincinnati this year, and they're really hungry after last year. He's an easy pick at number 10 in the fantasy draft. Now at number 9, we're going with Derrick Henry. And in 2021, he suffered a foot injury, and it's not clear that he came back 100% at the end of last year. And that is the danger of drafting him too soon in your league. You have to draft guaranteed points early on. You can't win your league in the first round, but you can certainly lose it. So don't go after this guy too quick if you're at the top of the draft. Number 8, Christian McCaffrey. In fact, you can just go back and listen to what I said about Derrick Henry. Henry's 28 years old. McCaffrey's 26. He's a little younger. I might have flipped them. But it's still in the same speech. Don't draft this guy too early. You could lose your league. With Baker Mayfield at quarterback, McCaffrey could have a great year, but make sure you draft him with caution. All right, let's get to number 7. Looks like we got Jamar Chase. This is the guy that won me the Fantasy League Championship last year. Thanks, Jamar. He has every single receiving tool: speed, separation, game knowledge. He's got a 41-inch vertical. It goes on and on with Chase. In just his rookie year, he posted 1,455 yards receiving and 13 touchdowns, and he plays on a loaded Bengals team. So at number 6, we're going with wide receiver Stephon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills. His 2022 team may be the biggest destiny team in NFL history. They came up just short in 21 last year in the playoffs, and the team is screaming for another shot. Second, Stephon just came off a 1,200-yard, 10-touchdown year. This guy's ready to go. This could be big for him. And now your top 5. This guy carried the football 307 times last year and established himself as a top rookie. And now in 2022, it's not going to let up at all. Najee Harris will be called on to carry the load again this year for the Steelers. And keep in mind, they've got a new quarterback taking over, so they're really going to need him. All right, for number 4 on my Minnesota Vikings, we have Justin Jefferson, who also arguably could be considered the best wide receiver in the NFL already. His 3,016 yards over his first 2 seasons is an NFL record. And his yardage and touchdown totals went up last year. And now he has a better coached offense for 2022. So it's all upside for Jefferson. This guy, if you can get him, get him. All right, at number 3, we have the highest scoring wide receiver of the past year, Cooper Kupp. And what's not like to like about the Coop? He led fantasy leagues in scoring for receivers last year. He's on a team that just won the Super Bowl. He plays opposite another solid wideout, the newly acquired Allen Robinson. So he's a no-brainer for a top-level pick in the fantasy draft. Now, for the number 2 pick, there's only 2 possibilities, and one is obvious. So it's Austin Eckler at 2. He's the number 2 scoring back in the league last year for standard leagues, and he's going to have another great 2022. He's got a great quarterback, great coaching. He scored 12 touchdowns last year. He'll add on to that in 2022. And so that brings us to number 1. And who else? Of course, Jonathan Taylor, the top skill position scorer in 2021, and will probably be the top scorer again in 2022. If you got the number 1 pick, stop thinking and just take him. All right, let's get into some player props here. It's tough to do in the preseason because the players only play a couple plays and then they're yanked out of the game. So I guess what we'll do is just kind of roll with it. We'll hit some of the key points from this week's games and shed a little light on what to look at. So first up, of course, is Giants at Patriots. Game time is coming up here at 6 p.m. Central Time. And Giants coach said that they anticipated that all their guys are going to be playing against New England. So we probably won't see much of the starters. And for Belichick, it sounds like the Patriots aren't going to play any of their starters. Also, Kadarius Toney is out. Second-year leap from quarterback Mac Jones could be helpful. Look out for Hunter Humphrey at top end. At tight end, he could be a top 5 tight end this year. So something to consider. In that game, I know it's preseason, but I'm going to pick the Patriots. You got to pick somebody, right? All right, for Titans and Ravens. Ravens are trying to win their 21st straight preseason game. It's a stat. Lamar Jackson's contract situation is kind of cause for concern. And also, how will Malik Willis perform in his pro debut at quarterback? He's probably going to be playing at least 1 or 2 quarters today. Treylon Burks, is he going to be the next wide receiver star for the Titans? That's going to be somebody, a lot of prop bets around him this year. Of course, tight end Mark Andrews. He's awesome, and he's somebody that you see a lot of prop action. And J.K. Robbins is off the PUP list, so he will be probably getting some reps this week or next week. I got the Titans. It's preseason. You know the drill. Okay, Atlanta and Lions. Atlanta's 3 rookies. Check out these guys. Quarterback Desmond Ridder, running back Tyler Allgeier, and their stud wide receiver rookie Drake London. Watch out for these guys this year. There's going to be a lot of prop action on them this year. And I think for Detroit, it'll be fun to watch to see if their rookie Aiden Hutchinson gets in and makes his debut. So there's a reason to watch that game. They've got the rookies in that game. They both drafted very well. Also, rookie wide receiver Jamison Williams from Detroit is out. He has been injured, so it'll be interesting to find out when he's going to come and play. But it won't be tonight. I got the Lions for the win. All right, Cleveland at Jacksonville. Wow, Deshaun Watson. He's going to start. So I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the Deshaun Watson situation? Goodell came out, he's talking real strong and saying his suspension was too short. I personally cannot state this strong enough. I agree with Goodell. So there you have it. For the Jags, we'll probably not see Lawrence or Etienne tonight. Maybe for a series, tops. And remember, they didn't play last week in the Hall of Fame game as well. So Cardinals at Bengals. Is that who we got now? Yeah. Cardinals at Bengals. So Joe Burrow had an appendectomy. So that's not good. Kyler Murray and Colt McCoy won't be playing the game. And doubtful we'll see A.J. Green. Not much there. Jets at Philly. Jets rookie is all about Jets are all about the rookie Wilson and running back Breece Hall. So check them out. And Zach Wilson, is he focused on his job? He's got some things happening outside of football right now. So I don't know. But the Jets did improve their team in the offseason. So a lot to watch there for the rookies and the new guys there. And I got a shocker pick for you. I got quarterback Jalen Hurts as the MVP this year. You heard that here first. So, Arizona at the Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals at Cincinnati Bengals. Wow, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow. Yeah, they're awesome. I don't know if we're going to see much action. What are we seeing on the line here? Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much. Yeah, from them, it doesn't look like. Kyler got paid, so hopefully no more distraction. Well, running back James Conner, he had 18 total touchdowns last year. Be looking for him in prop action this year. And for the Bengals, Mixon, Boyd, Chase, Higgins, Burrow, Hurst, their tight end. I got Bengals for the win here for the preseason game. Green Bay Packers and San Francisco 49ers. Is that who we got next? Yeah, the Pack is back. No, they're actually kind of looking a little tough, wide receiver. So give me a second. I'm going to see if I can find. I had something else here. Yeah, I guess really it's quarterback Trey Lance for San Francisco. And is he going to be a surprise this year from what they're letting on? Because they don't seem that concerned about letting go Jimmy Garoppolo. And that seemed weird to me. So will the books have it kind of conservative to start the year for Trey Lance or not? I don't know. I think something's going down there. Something's happening. Trey Lance might be better than what they're letting us know. Panthers at Commanders. Is it Baker or is it Sam Darnold? We've got a huge question to get answered first before we even start looking for prop action with them. Is third-round pick Matt Corral, I think his name is he going to play a lot in this game and get some attention? And is this Carson Wentz's last year as a starter? And how will he respond to this seemingly as his last opportunity? So, Commanders, I'm looking at wide receiver Terry McLaurin. He's a solid fantasy football pick. There'll be a lot of prop action on him this year as well. And then wide receiver Jahan Dotson. I think he's a Rookie of the Year sleeper as well. I'm picking Carolina. It's a pick. It's preseason. Chiefs at the Bears. I am looking forward to seeing some playing time from the Chiefs wide receiver rookie Sky Moore. This guy, he could be a sleeper pick for you. Right now in the depth chart, I think he might be listed second. I don't even think he's first yet, but he is, trust me on this, he could be a Rookie of the Year candidate real fast. The guy was just a stud. He was a banger in college, and he's playing with arguably the best quarterback in the league, certainly one of them. So look for Sky Moore. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. Got to pick somebody, so I'm going to go with them. Sorry, Chicago. Let's see. Indianapolis Colts at the Bills. Actually, can we just skip the preseason and get right to the regular season game for these guys? Don't fall asleep on the Colts this year, folks. And also look for Alec Pierce on the Colts at wide receiver. I'm going to be curious to see how he does. He should be on the field tonight. I think we'll see some playing time from him. So, yeah, I don't know. Buffalo, the quarterback is the MVP favorite, and they've got a lot of weapons. They got Diggs, they got Davis. Oh, and James Cook, Dalvin Cook's little brother, is a rookie. So check out the Bills, and then deep in your draft, but not too deep, get a load of James Cook. He might sleeper. All right, Seahawks at Steelers. It's all about the quarterbacks here. With both teams, we don't even know who the starters are. The Steelers, Trubisky, or Rudolph, I guess. Mason Rudolph is it. And then Smith or Locke for the Seahawks. So I guess you'd watch for Seahawks running back Kenny Pickett. He might get some time tonight, but otherwise I think it's just going to be a lot of people you haven't heard of. But, it's preseason. It might get a little sloppy out there. Anyway, on this one, who am I picking? Steelers. It's a toss-up. It's preseason. All right, and next up, I believe we have Dolphins at Buccaneers. Watch for Tampa backup at quarterback Kyle Trask. I'm curious if he's developed since last year. And then for the Dolphins, it's Tua. Probably won't see much of him tonight. And also, wide receiver tandem is pretty solid because they're going to have Tyreek and they're going to have Jay Waddle this year. Again, it's all about Tua. He's going to have a solid year, or all that firepower they got at wide receiver may be in vain. Tampa, of course, has got Mike Evans, and he's just a star. Godwin had an ACL injury. He's going to be coming back, so they're pretty loaded. And then Fournette, 27 years old. He's still 27, 28, still banging away. He's good. So Saints at Texans. Chris Olave, remember the name. I hope I get him in my draft. He is actually my front runner for Rookie of the Year. He is a stud receiver. He's going to get a lot of prop action this year. Trust me on this, man. Go over on this guy. Now, Jameis Winston has an injury, and so he's not going to play at all. Let's see. Marlon Mack, flex and bye week. Yeah, I look for Marlon Mack. He's pretty good. And then, Brandon Cooks, his 1,000 yards, his 6 touchdowns, pretty standard. I got to pick somebody. I'm going to go with the Saints. Saints are kind of a sleeper for me this year. I don't know, they could make some noise. Oh, who do we got? Cowboys at Broncos. I don't think we're going to see Russell tonight. It might be a little too early. Broncos lost Tim Patrick for the year with an ACL injury. That's not good at all. Of course, for prop action this year, we'll see CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to be a breakout. And running back Tony Pollard, he's going to get carries, I think, over Ezekiel Elliott. So Again, it's the AFC West. It's going to be a shootout. So Russell Wilson in your draft, and for prop action, keep him in mind because they're going to be throwing the football. The AFC West is so powerful. I'll grab the Broncos for the win. Dallas is traveling, so we got them. Rams at Chargers. Los Angeles. Justin Herbert has never played a preseason snap, so you're not going to see him. Stafford has a sore elbow. You're not going to see him. There's no real rookies I'm targeting in this game or that I'm really expecting to light it up this year, so we kind of have to wait to see the starters later in the preseason. But one of the people they acquired players was Allen Robinson. He'll be starting opposite Cup. I think there's going to be some action for him this year in prop, and he's going to be a good fantasy player for you as well. And then, two Williams, Chargers receivers, Mike Williams and Allen, is that who it is? Yeah, they're pretty solid. My Vikings at the Raiders. The sideshow here is that the speculation is that Raiders running back Josh Jacobs still could be traded. Now, they kind of hinted they weren't going to do it, but then they played the heck out of him last week in the Hall of Fame game. Were they shopping him or showcasing him? Because if he's your starting running back, why were they risking that? That just seemed weird to me. I don't know. That just seemed weird to me. Anyway, maybe they're going to keep him, maybe not. Devontae Adams' excellence is going to continue. I'm going to pick the Raiders. Vikings are traveling. And, So, for Parlay Live, it's almost kickoff time. And obviously, we can't get much into parlays here now because they just don't play the guys. But I decided to do something a little bit different here. Something special. I cooked this up for you. I call it Better Games, Better Wagers. And basically, it's 5 rule changes I'd like to make to the game. So, one of them is, if you get a delay game penalty, I think you should also lose the down. If you weren't able to get the play in on time, why do you still get the play? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, and if you're so disorganized, there's nothing like watching the little quarterbacks panic, and I'm all for that. So, number 2, no more penalties for crowd noise. Come on, it's home field advantage. You drop your signs. You're there to cheer your team on. And let's see, we got to change that rule. You can't be penalizing these guys for that. I think it's ridiculous. So I love the chance. I love everything about home field advantage. You can't be penalized for that kind of stuff. Let's go. Oh, no more field goals inside the 20-yard line. You spent all that time marching down the field. Your receiver got nailed on a crossing rod. He still got up for the next play. You hard counted a 4th and 4 and drew them offsides for a first down. And you already scrambled for a 12-yard run with 2 300-pound giants trying to kill you. Don't send in your kicker. That's crazy. All right. Oh, each team only gets 2 punts per half. I love this one. Think about the decisions you would have to make. What happens if you turn it over inside your own 50-yard line? Or if you get stuck inside the 5, you're going to need a couple of punts in the bank. So maybe you're going to have to go for it when you're on your 38-yard line. Anyway, and coaches on unsportsmanlike penalty. That's the last one. Either take the yardage or take away one of your opponent's remaining timeouts or take away one of your opponent's challenges. I think the coaches should get a choice because that would make it so interesting at the end of the game. You could really, really mess someone up, really mess up the other team because they panicked, because they didn't keep their cool. They got the unsportsmanlike. You got some choices. So I think that would be really awesome. So those are the changes I would make. And the bottom line with me is this. I really want to have a little bit more chaos on the field. And that certainly grows when you take away something the other team really needs. So kind of getting it? Anyway, that's it for now. The game is starting here shortly, like in 5 minutes. So I really appreciate you all hanging out. And I'm going to sign off and let you get to the broadcast. We'll see you next Thursday, a half an hour before game time, right here on Evening Kickoff. You can visit us online, twitter.com/eveningkickoff. Be sure to subscribe and enjoy the games, everyone. Good night.